Yeah, did you?
Turn it over. Maybe it's upside down.
Please stand by for technical difficulties.
Show them what you're having
Hey.
trouble with.
That's the one Bill had in high
I
school,
had
he
a
said.
digital job.
It would be nice.
Well, it's gonna go over the edge.
There you go.
Okay.
Well, sorry, I know shorthand, we're good.
We're good.
Yeah, sharpen your pencil, girl, because that's not working. All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the July 21st, 2020 regular village board meeting. And if you please rise for pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I motion we approve the minutes of the July 7th, 2020 regular village board meeting.
I'll second
Yes. Yes.
All right. We've got some guests in the crowd. Commander LaGuire is on the agenda. If you'd like to come on up and let us know what's going on in your world.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the board. My name is Jeffrey LaQuire. I am VFW Post 9594 Commander. Our post is very excited. We're going to propose a program tonight that the more I talk to the community, the more excited I get. Some members of the community even teared up when I explained to them what we're doing. So this is something that we're very proud of and very excited for. We are proposing a Veterans Banner sponsorship program, also known as the Boulevard of Honor. The Boulevard of Honor will run from Queens Firehouse up Main Street to 9W, and any overflow will branch off onto Mountain Road. There's approximately 72 poles, telephone poles, to which we can attach a veterans banner. Our vision is every pole on Main Street has a veterans banner with a picture, pertinent information of that veteran, to be sponsored by the family member for a cost of $250. Our goal is September 20th. In order to obtain that goal, we need to have a cutoff date of August 14th. There's about a 4-week lead time. It's not the end-all, be-all, but in order for it to be up and be presented for a few months before we take them down, that's what we're shooting for. What we want to do is we want to create a conversation about our history, about our veterans, and foster an environment of inclusiveness. At the Veterans Memorial on Main Street, if a telephone pole is within eyeshot, it will be the Ring of Honor. This will be reserved for local veterans and Bronze Star with Valor and recipients and above. Envision our next Veterans Day celebration on Veterans Day. Our communities come together. We're honoring our local veterans. Our forefathers, our friends, my brothers and sisters are looking down upon us. If that doesn't give you goosebumps, I don't know what will. The following year, a sponsor can retain its place on the pole for a fee of $50. I envision the banners going up before Memorial Day and coming down after Veterans Day, much like the flags. I've spoken with the mayor, and this is something that we feel we could do, and I'll be more than happy to help with anything that we need to do. In order to be sponsored, a veteran must be served in the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, or Coast Guard, and served honorably. The sponsorship includes a 24x48 custom banner of your veteran with pertinent information aligned along Main Street. I have an application here. I've also forwarded this to the VFW Auxiliary. We're going to post it on Facebook, and I've also reached out to the News Herald, and they're going to do an article with all this information. Our goal, again, is to, actually, our ultimate goal is to have every telephone pole in town with a veteran on it, if possible. So, you know, I sit here and I see what's going on in the world, and we need to come together as a community, and we need to honor and respect not only our veterans, but just each other. And I can't imagine the discussion that this is going to generate while we're at Veterans Day ceremonies. And hey, I know this guy. and we could talk about the history of that. So, in closing, we live in a crazy world and crazy times. And if our community can come together to celebrate this, we'll make it all that more special. And any support that the village could give us would be much appreciated. Thank you. Do you have any questions?
Nice.
Well, I'll tell you, Jeff, I think I sent it back to you about, I come from Hudson Falls, that's where I grew up, and we've been doing this program, Bill, the flags have been up in Hudson Falls for 5 years, and I'll tell you, going home to Hudson Falls and seeing the flags coming in and out, it just gives me a chill every time I go, so I appreciate your efforts.
Thank you.
Jeff, just, the brackets come with the flags?
The brackets,
Or banners?
the brackets will come with with the banners. If a sponsor declines to participate in the following year, the brackets will remain with the VFW, and the banner will be given to the family.
So it's $250 initial.
$250
and then
initial.
50 for each year after that.
Correct.
Now, they would go on poles, I assume, that don't have flags because they have to be high enough, right? So the trucks don't hit them.
I went and measured those.
24 inches, we'd probably be all right for most poles, all the way up through.
You might need some slight
Slight, right.
adjustments to the flags, but it should work.
If for sight distance, we'll have to maybe work
Because I know he had
so
to
it
be
don't
careful.
up and down.
Right, or we could, we could turn it towards the sidewalk. I went out and measured the poles, and I think if we can get the telephone, or if we can get the bracket for the flags
Under
at
the-
at
under the
14 foot, that'll put the banners coming in right at the bottom around 10 foot.
The only one I think is gonna have trouble is maybe that pole in front of the old village office.
On the corner?
But with that one, we probably could put it on the backside with that one.
Yeah,
There's
they
a couple
still
poles
see
that
it.
I left out that are just completely buried by tree. There are a couple trees that probably should be trimmed back. But I did leave a few of the poles out that was just like, well, that's gonna work, to cut that whole tree
I
down.
mean, that's logistics.
Yeah, we can do that.
We'll sort that out.
Right.
I mean, I think it's great. And as long as, I always like to run it by Henry, but I'd love for our guys, while we're hanging the flags, we've got the equipment, we've got the
Right.
knowledge.
Oh, yeah, right.
We can do we can take care of putting them up, taking them down.
Perfect, perfect.
In my opinion,
I think
go
it's
for it.
wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, go for
All
it.
right, yep, and just once again, the cutoff for the initial push is 14 August.
Okay,
If you get us a press release,
right,
we'll do a media, our website and
and Facebook and,
Provide you a picture.
A picture, a copy of the DD Form 214, that's a service member's record release, stating an honorable discharge, especially if you're a Bronze Star with Valor recipient. We just can't throw it up there.
is that hard to get if somebody's deceased or something?
No, if
There-
they live in the town, they would have a copy. If they lived in the town of Queens.
There is a website, and I'm working with Joe Ising, I'm trying to get that website right now. As soon as I get that website, everyone will have that.
okay.
Service branch and a conflict if they were in Vietnam, World War II. Now, there's a lot of campaigns of as recent, Iraqi freedom, enduring freedom. All of those are covered under the global war on terrorism. So we could either do the global war on terrorism, or we could just specify the campaign, and that would be up to the service member or the sponsor.
Did you say, I know it had been discussed at one point, do they have to be a resident, or can it be a resident family that had a member?
That's a great question, and my initial thought was a local resident, local hero. But then I started thinking, we have pillars of the community who would like to honor their veteran. So I brought it back to the Post, and we decided that it can be a resident, that wants to sponsor a veteran, and that is absolutely perfectly fine and
Even though the
encouraged.
veteran wasn't a resident themselves?
Yeah, exactly. If Trustee Rosado actually asked me that question, which sparked the conversation, and I thought, geez, wouldn't it be great if she could talk about her dad during our Veterans Day ceremony? And that's when I brought it back to the Post, and that's what we came up with. So yes,
And he was a life member of this VFW Post, which makes it
exactly,
nicer.
exactly.
I believe you're gonna find out, if you go by Hudson Falls,
They'll be using all their poles.
Well, we do have the whole town.
Yeah, so
We can go down every road in town. You know, there's 72 on Main Street. That's gonna be our initial push. I'd like to see people come down Main Street and just be wowed. How do I get one of these? Come to the
You
VFW.
got Mountain Road, then they can go down Westerlo or Church.
Even over by the
You just
park.
work one pole in
I'd
from
do
each
the
Right.
street.
park on Winnie.
By the park.
all the way down
Yep.
Winnie, in and out.
If
You
you
got
have a-
both side streets and work
Winnie
the first
Avenue,
pole
the
in.
park. Yeah.
72 on just 2 roads. There's other roads and, yeah, so we
Yeah,
can,
but
we,
I think you're gonna find that you're going to have a space problem. They had a real problem.
They had to clarify,
Hudson Falls.
yes, they had to clarify, so think about that just a little bit, because, I mean, my dad's there, but do I want my dad here, you know, so you might want to clarify that a little bit.
Six of them. Okay.
okay.
I believe you're gonna find out that you're gonna knock down 77 pretty quick.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah,
You're taking
I may be
2.
wrong.
Yeah.
I mean,
Maybe 3.
Maybe 3.
and then
I
maybe
mean,
you
you
could
got
clarify.
Russell
that.
Ave, that's another busy street.
Yep.
There's
There's lots of
That's a problem I look forward to.
I know.
To be completely, that's a
We
problem I
like
look,
it too. We like
that's a
it too.
problem I look
They brought
forward
the
to.
flags down closer to where I lived, Notre Dame's way down, so I didn't mind
And where
that.
there's a will, there's a way.
Yep,
So all the money gets handled by you, you're just asking the village to help in any way we can.
Help in any way you can, publicize, actually putting them up, taking them down.
Right,
yep.
but you're
Yeah.
doing all the money.
Yeah, we're gonna handle all the money. And,
Will you guys store them for the off-season, or would we?
we can. We absolutely can.
I mean, we have room too, we just need totes or something safe to.
Right, absolutely.
You need a dry place, right?
Dry
Yes.
place.
And that's, we're trying to
might
get,
wanna
we're trying to get our building dry right
You might
now.
want to take them
It's gonna be, trust me, it's gonna be.
until the
Yes,
next
space if
year,
you need
yeah.
it for-
And that might be a good thing too. and then
Well,
you
it
won't have
only
to
leaves
wait.
3 weeks, so they're gonna have to get it out and advertise quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
we're-
think it's great, I like it.
I was told that they see no problem with Main Street selling out, and I was like, that is fantastic, we'll just go down another road.
Yep.
Yeah, all of our members have them, Linda, Chris, and Bill and I can send
Yeah,
it to
press
Nancy and
release
Bill.
would be great, like maybe a combination village VFW press release.
Yep, good.
Yeah, anything you get, just share it, and we
And
can,
then we'll put
we
it
can
out there.
farm it out, and,
On
Usually
all of
sends
our-
it to
we
me
have
and then
tons
I
of
can send
pages.
it
We
to
all
all.
each have a page, so we can get it out.
Yeah, yeah, I've sent you everything I have to
Yeah.
date, so.
Good.
I have
Nice.
this.
The church, yeah, the churches, they don't have bulletins anymore this time with COVID, so you can't really share it through them.
church, no.
But they also have Facebook pages and things, the
We've
churches.
got our sign,
Flash something,
Yep.
I think It's a great idea, Jeff.
yeah. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Something positive for, you know?
Woohoo! It's really cool when they do it.
all right.
Tommy?
Tom, looks like you're next.
You all know why I'm here.
I think in the June 2nd meeting, you had a report. And I'm going to start with truck traffic alone first, and then I'll move on to cars. So, do all you know where the truck route goes in Ravena? What is the truck route and where it goes?
Where it should go or where
Yeah,
it's
where it
going?
should go.
Main Street, 9W.
State roads.
Do
Yeah.
you know what the weight limit is?
Yep.
100,000
Yep.
pounds? I believe,
No, not for the village streets, you know what the weight limit is for those?
Village Street's different, yeah.
3 ton? I
3?
think it's 3 ton.
I can look it up.
So none of yous know.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, you have to look in the code book, Tom.
So look at the code book, so it's 10,000 pounds,
10,000.
okay? So we have a truck route, we have a village code for 10,000 pounds. Okay. Wait, these signs. It's one of those buttons.
Give it to Mary Ellen, she knows how to turn it on.
Step on it.
Turn it off.
So at the last meeting, well, the June 2nd meeting, we had the police study done, and they reported there was one tow truck on Mountain Road. That's all they saw in 7 days or 9 days or whatever it was. And I think that's the way it was presented. Did anybody ask the police how many times we have called about trucks on Mountain Road?
I did.
And how many were there?
A lot. They said there are a lot of calls from you.
All right, so I got the data too. So it was 18, but it's up to 20,
Okay.
okay? Plus, we have called or went to the Queens Police at least 10 times, all right? We traced down at least 12 companies that went by our house and told them to stay off the road. It's not a truck route, okay? Or we called those companies, or we talked to the drivers. So that one tow truck is not the case for Mountain Road.
Can I just say, that same truck we saw multiple times before the police officers.
Right.
So
So
and
he,
actually Tom went up to the police officer and told him
the
that.
day he pulled him over, I went out and told him, I said, that guy's been up and down this road several times a week. I said, give him a ticket. And then the guy told him, well, I was off of Western Avenue. Well, if he was, fine, but most days he was not. He was 3 or 4 times a week up that street, flying. You know, I was here in January, I told you there was 50 trucks a month going through there. I was here in February, I told you there was 50 trucks a month going through here. Okay? In July alone, the first week in July, 2 tractor trailers, 10 box trucks or dump trucks. Second week, 10 trucks, and 13 trucks the third week. And then to top it all off today, we're sitting in the house, tractor trailer goes down through. I call the police. 5 minutes later, police goes up the road looking for him. Can't find him. 10 minutes later, another tractor trailer goes down. Half hour after that, another tractor trailer comes up. So don't tell me there's no trucks on that road, because that really pissed me
Oh,
off.
no, I've seen them.
Tom,
You know-
can I ask you a question real quick? I know that on our road, Western, because I live on the other end of Western, there's tons of construction going on right there with big tractor trailers delivering
And I'm telling you, I know what the rules are for the road.
Okay,
None of these trucks are going up Western, up Van Buren, crossing over. We watch them. When we see them go down now, we go outside because we can't see because the trees are there, and we watch them turn on Main Street. They
Okay.
come off the red light and they turn on Main Street. So I know. I don't want the excuse that these trucks are delivering locally, because they're not.
Tom, we have it posted.
Yep.
We have asked both police agencies to spend time. I've seen them personally spending some time, and you know, there's only so much that we can do.
All right, so here's what you can do, okay? I talked to the sheriffs, and they said, you've got a truck route system, and you got it on your code, okay? You don't have one sign that tells each truck drivers where to go. So they go on any street they think it's feasible to get to their destination. There's no signs telling them where to go.
You don't need it. What you gotta do is have it blocked off with the no truck signs.
You do need it because the truck drivers we've talked to said, well, I don't know where else to go. I can't tell you, I can't go down IW. I don't know if that's where the truck route is. So we need truck route signs, we need directional truck route signs, and the sheriffs agree with me. They need.
That's gonna be state DOT. That's up to the
Well,
state DOT.
then you gotta contact the village, I can't contact state DOT.
Oh, yeah, you can.
No, I can't. The village board has to contact state DOT
No.
and get the signs put up.
Tom, we can talk to them, but you also can talk to them. I mean, more people need to talk.
But it's gotta come a lot more if the village board talks to them than it is coming from me.
We can call them and ask them to put them up. Again, any signage along state roads.
I know, any signage along state roads, but you need to contact them and get something needs to be done here. It's not getting any better, Bill.
just saying, Tom, we've posted what we've can. We've asked the police to, stay on top of it. We can talk to the, our local engineer, DOT engineer, and ask if we can put, signs.
So here's the sign you need, right there. The sheriff told me it needs to be put before that red light, so the truck goes straight through and stays off the village streets.
We cannot put it up, Tom.
Yeah, I know you can't put it up, but you can contact them and have it looked at and have it done.
I'd be more than happy to have DOT do that. It's not a problem. My concern, I think in a few months, you're gonna be right back here, because if they're not seeing the sign with the big arrows, I don't know why they're gonna to me, it's an enforcement thing. We got 80 cops around here. They could sit in
But they
family dollar
don't.
parking
They're
lot.
not,
I get it.
they're driving by, but they're not sitting,
I know.
okay? And the other thing that the sheriff's told me is, you need to put a weight limit sign for all the local guys that just ignore it, and so they know what the weight limit is for the streets. None of the streets are labeled.
We have some, don't we?
We don't have to label every street, but when you got a street that's a continuous problem, it needs to be labeled, Henry, I'm sorry.
But if they're doing a delivery, the weight limit doesn't.
They're not doing a delivery, you don't go that route. I've been through that.
Delivery,
They're not doing a delivery on Mountain Road.
We got a
if
tractor
they're
trailer
doing-
here today.
If they're doing a delivery on a road that's off the
Three
mountain
tractor
road, they
trailers
have
at
a
my
right
house
to go on Mountain
But it's off a mountain road. But it's not a delivery, it's not a street off of it. I know that. I know what the rules are, Bill. I've been through every sheriff and every town of Queens Police tells me what the rules are. Every time they come to my house, they tell me what the rules are. Okay, every time I call dispatch, they tell me what the rules are. Dispatch has had enough of me calling. They sent me to a supervisor last time I called, because they're tired of it. And they're saying the village needs to do something about it.
Yeah, we received one call from him.
I agree with you, again, mark this down, that we can go ahead and advocate for those signs.
Yeah, I have no problem.
For
whatsoever.
for DOT.
And why are you going to put up a weight limit sign on that road?
The flip side is.
On which road?
Mountain Road, a weight limit sign.
I also agree that if they don't, I'm all for advocating for that. We can talk to our representative who handles this area. But I'm also of the belief that if they're not looking at those signs and obeying them, I will be shocked if they go ahead and
We
follow
gotta
that.
try something. It's not working the way it is. I was here in January, I was here in February, it's 7 months later, and all we're doing is kicking the can down the road.
Well,
We gotta do
let's
something.
do it.
We got the same on Moxley. If they don't go down his road, they come down Moxley, just so they don't have to go around and take the light.
It's a shortcut.
Yeah.
The truck route sign at least gives them another warning.
So you'd
Another
have to
thing to
put,
follow.
you'd have to put a couple. You'd have to put one near Mountain, one near Moxley,
Right.
and then one up at the corner that says,
But the problem you're gonna get, and maybe they can do it, so it makes a U. I think you're gonna wind up
Oh, put 'em
diverting
on
traffic
Wendell?
down Wendell Ave.
Well,
well, right, it would have to be like an arrow, a U arrow at the point.
We'll call DOT tomorrow.
I'll call traffic design.
That's
that's
not a
good.
problem.
Perfect.
And the other thing I brought up in January was, that, for a traffic violation, the fine was, first offense was $50, okay? That's fine, nobody gives a damn about $50, right? They just soon pay the fine. You need to raise the fines.
But they're not writing tickets either, correct? I mean, you're telling me they're not pulling people over.
All right, tickets.
Either, yes, there are not, but we still need to have a fine bigger than $50. And if you slap one of these guys with a $250 fine, they won't use that street again. A $50 fine, they'll say, I ain't gotta be bothered with you.
So the company doesn't get it, the driver
The
gets
driver
it,
gets it, yeah.
correct? The company has no responsibility. I'm just thinking out loud.
But we were told that motor vehicle notifies the company of the ticket,
Okay,
the insurance company, excuse me. They notify.
so
the
they
insurance
have something to lose also.
Yeah, they do.
Yes.
I do the same thing, Tom. If I see the phone number as it's going by, I'm calling. Usually I don't see them again.
So from what I understand, you're gonna call the state, see what they say about the state signs. Have we made it, are we gonna put a weight limit sign on that street?
That's easy enough.
Write that down, Henry.
That go right on the existing, under the existing sign.
In addition to what's
In
there?
addition to, yeah.
And are we gonna do anything with the
Just on
fines?
Mountain, a weight limit just on Mountain, or a weight limit on Mountain and Moxley?
Moxley should have one too, if you're not gonna put the trucks down there.
Well, those are the two cross
So
thoroughfares,
you want to
so,
hit both
I would
of
say
them?
both of them.
yep, that's fine.
What about the fines?
Well, let's do this first, because that
Yeah.
involves a public hearing and everything else.
We're in the
Let's-
process right now of redoing our code book.
Let's
We
get 'em to
have
write
been
some
for about
tickets.
8 months. We haven't got to that section yet. So, we're gonna have a brand-new code book soon enough. And I know that the fines and penalties for certain other violations were, they were made back in the 50s, when 50
Yeah.
bucks was a lot of money. So there was things that were gonna be updated, some things are gonna be stricken. And we may or may not allow people to spit on the sidewalk, I'm not sure.
That's just gross.
That's still up for debate. But we will absolutely visit that when we
Do that.
do
Okay.
that at
That's
that
all,
time.
that's all I can ask. All right, so now I'm gonna switch over to the speeding cars, okay? So I guess what I kinda, we talked about the stop signs, I know you guys don't want them. But I guess what criteria was used to determine we needed stop signs in Magnolia Circle?
All the residences, I believe, the children,
So the children on Mountain Road don't count?
well, I'm
We
talking,
had a couple accidents.
We had almost a fatal accident.
right, we had a woman get hit by a car.
And we had a recommendation from the police, and that's, to give it a try.
With
Okay.
that, if I'm not mistaken, and I'd have to look back at the minutes, I believe there was a contingency of people came in
Right.
to advocate for it. It was, it wasn't just one person said, hey, I want a stop sign, and we said, okay. There was a group from Magnolia.
Okay, was there a police study done on Magnolia?
They were
Yeah.
down there.
They took a reading for speed.
We had the
Yeah.
radar signs
Yeah.
up. We had, and they did and I know that they did the park and watch thing. It was similar to what we did here with
Yeah,
the
it
sign.
wasn't a full DOT.
Did that study influence your decision at all, or was it good data, bad data, what was it?
Well, there were speeders
Yeah.
For here or the other
Oh,
one?
the
for
other-
Magnolia,
For Magnolia, there
Yes.
was. Here, there wasn't that many.
And now
as well as Wendell.
Big
Wasn't a lot of
speed.
speeders.
I think too with the
Did you try
Cumberland-
temporary measurements over on Magnolia before you went and put the stop signs up?
Police cars.
Yes, you did.
Yep.
Temporary stop signs up.
Okay.
the biggest backlash on that, Tom, just so you know, and it was something and nobody else, we didn't even, it didn't cross our minds. And then somebody, after the public hearing and the stop signs went up, a few people, that's when they decided to speak up. Stop signs, obviously they're part of life, they work, but there was two sides to that coin, especially now, there's a real problem, and tickets aren't written, again, with cars, diesel pickup trucks, everything's got loud exhaust, so the stop, rather than them just cruising through like they used to on the roundabout, that stop and, that enraged people in
I got
those-
that every
know.
day going up the hill on Mountain Road right now.
Yeah, I mean, it would be,
The trailer come down this afternoon.
yeah, I know, I live on 9W, I know about the
Yeah,
Jake
you know.
breaks, which we found out,
Jake breaks is no go.
they're not, DOT's not putting up Jake break signs, just on a
Yeah,
side
we
note.
just found that out.
Because you're asking them to disable a safety feature. We talk about that later. But, yeah, so, that's just something to consider, that it does increase the noise pollution in an area when you add a stop sign. And we neglected that last time that we looked at it.
I think the end result still, it was for the better versus the noise.
Well, I agree. but
So
it was just a factor.
Talk about the ramps.
When you looked at the signs on Wendell Street, was it the same thing? Was there a police study done?
They sat there.
Yes.
They did, yeah.
Yes,
And again, we had a lot of people
And-
from
tons.
Wendell Street.
And we knew.
Tons.
Oh, yeah.
right away
Oh, Wendell
when the-
Street, yeah.
When the new Cumbies went in, it caused
Right, when Cumby went
a
in.
lot of problems, a whole change to the whole traffic flow that drastically affected.
So you don't think the Port of Queens drastically changed the traffic flow on Mountain Road?
Not as much as when.
What- how do you know?
When it went on Wendell, it created a tremendous problem because the state wouldn't allow
Going out.
the
Yeah.
exit to go back into the village out onto
On the
Mountain
south.
View. They forced it out onto Wendell, which put a lot of traffic that never even thought of Wendell Avenue.
So just like Mountain Road, the Port of Queens put a lot of traffic going down to Queens now that we never would have thought of being there.
Well,
When I moved there, it wasn't like this.
Wendell Road also did not have a sidewalk.
No, they don't, right, they
They
don't have a
have a
sidewalk.
sidewalk. The whole road doesn't have a
But
sidewalk.
I mean, I've got
Really, really was the driving of.
hundreds of cargo trucks.
Change the traffic pattern for the whole Wendell Avenue, and we knew we had to do something, because,
So,
it just
Bill,
wasn't-
I agree with you, Bill, you're right. But everything you're saying is exactly what I'm saying on Mountain Road.
I know it must add some traffic to Port of Queens, and
It adds a lot of traffic.
it may be about, but nowhere is near what we.
Okay, well, I'll get to
I
that.
know it's,
We,
it was pretty universal that we had to do something.
I don't know.
That was the only thing we could do.
Probably not,
I thought we were gonna do the.
because then you can't enforce
so,
it.
on a June 2nd meeting, I'm a little ticked off about this. But I've been working with you for 7 months on this problem. And I didn't even know that data was gonna be presented at that meeting. No one could have sent me an email, called me on my phone, say, hey, we did a study, we just wanna let you know we're gonna present it at the meeting on June 2nd?
We, what data, was that the data that didn't come out of the sheriff's?
No, this is the data that the Queens Police gave you.
Oh, well, I guess that was just a private email to me. I mean,
But you presented it at the June 2nd meeting.
I did, I shared it with everybody.
But, you couldn't, it just seemed like I've been working on this and talking with all yous, and no one even let me know that was happening. Not to pick on you, Nancy, but.
No, that's fine. To be perfectly honest, Tom, knowing how close you've been keeping in touch with them, I thought they were sharing all this
No,
back
they're-
and
no.
forth with you.
No, they don't,
Okay.
they don't share unless you ask. So, back to that police study. So how many cars slow down because they see a police officer?
All of them.
There we go.
Lots.
There's no good place on Mountain Road to set up a car where you can't see them from up on McCulloch Avenue. As soon as you come over that crest of that hill, you see the car sitting down there. What do? You slow down.
I'd like to see them hide behind the building over here so you can
We had the
catch.
radar sign too.
Yeah,
I thought the radar sign was the source of some of that.
we're doing that again.
Remember I told you the data?
The data never got.
Sergeant Burns, that was supposed to be a new sign, and they cannot retrieve the data. Now, he said he was gonna bring back another sign and set it up again.
So-
Now, I don't know if that reads before you hit your brakes. I don't know how far ahead that reads, for when you see that sign. But he's going to bring that back, because we got a couple spots we want him to try it on.
So the-
Winnie Ave and this one.
So the way I looked at that data from that June 2nd meeting and the way it was presented, if I was watching, I would have said, there's nothing wrong with Mountain Road. Why are they complaining? We had one car going 40 miles an hour. One. What's the big deal? In one morning last week, in an hour and a half, 145 cars went by my house. So we had 600 cars in the study. 145 went by in 1 hour, hour and a half. That's just a snapshot of what happens on Mountain Road. It's not even close to what really goes on.
145 cars went by?
in an hour and a half.
Okay, but I mean, 145 cars weren't speeding.
145 cars went by. I'll leave it at that. Okay, so this data, so we average this data. It is not a good statistical way of looking at it. Okay? You need to look at all the data and do an interpretation. Statistics is a discipline that concerns the collection, organization, analyze, interpretation, and presenting of that data. Okay? So I looked at the data. I got the data. I did call and get the data. All right? Out of 636 cars, the average speed was 25 miles an hour. Sounds great. Okay? I looked at the data at the slow cars and the fast cars. Okay? 43 cars were going under 20 miles an hour. 15 cars were going under 15 miles an hour. A soapbox derby car goes faster than 15 miles an hour. If you coast down that hill, if you start at McCulloch Avenue and you just coast, you go 25 miles an hour.
So are you
So-
saying the data is incorrect?
Oh, I'm saying the data's correct from what he wrote down. But what I'm saying is that they either saw the police there and they slowed way down, because that data, no one goes that slow on Mountain Road. So then I looked at the data a little bit further. I looked at the fast cars. So we had one car going 40. Well, there was another car in there that was going 46. But you didn't know, they didn't tell you that one, or they missed it. I don't know. When you look at the data, it's really hard. You really have to go through it with a fine-tooth comb. So, out of 636 cars, in the time that they were there to get those 636 cars, 88 of them were going 30 miles an hour or over. So that isn't one car going 40. That's 88 cars going over 30 miles an hour. 30 or over. That's what it was. So then I said, well, if we had 636 cars, that seemed to me like a lot of cars at the time. So I said, well, let me just sit here on the front porch and drink my coffee. So I sat there on the front porch and drank my coffee from 6 in the morning till 9 in the morning. Then I went in the afternoon, and I sat there with my soda, and I went from 4 in the afternoon to 6. In that 5-hour period, I had 588 cars in 5 hours, in one day. If you use that 588 cars and multiply it by 5 days a week, okay, and this is also just a little picture of it. It's only 5 hours in a day. That's 2,940 cars go down that street in a week. In that study, 14% of the cars were 30 miles an hour or over. If you take 14% of the 2,940 cars, that's 412 cars a week that are going over 30 miles an hour on that street. So I'm not making this up. This is the facts. This is the data right here from the police. That's it. They're the numbers. They're the facts. This is the study we used.
Did they tell you how many tickets they wrote for cars going over 30?
No, I didn't ask that question.
That's an important question.
And that rule is, well, if you're going 38, it's just frowned upon. It's not a ticket.
Chances are they're not gonna get a ticket unless they're doing 40 and above.
You're probably right.
Yeah, I would agree.
But that doesn't mean that the cars aren't speeding.
Right.
So, that study, I'll say it again, it wasn't really the whole story of what goes on Mountain Road. And Nancy, I think we agreed. You agreed. There was a problem on Mountain Road. You and I had the conversation. And then one of the emails was, you want me to speak to the Queens supervisor and the police chief? I did that. I called him. I called him within the last month and a half. I talked to him 2 years ago. I talked to him 3 years ago. So this has been going on for like 5 years now. Ever since that expansion down there in Queens, the village has changed a lot, and you people gotta realize that. And enforcement alone can't fix this. So if enforcement can't fix it, we need to do other things to try to fix it. You know, you said call the police. So since January, we called them. We called them the 18 times for the trucks. We went and followed the trucks. We went and talked to them 10 times. You know, and then you tell me you're getting complaints on Wendell, which I agree. You're getting complaints on Winnie. Van Buren, you had a complaint at the last meeting, but that's just all coming off of Mountain Road, and then you just keep on going for the Van Buren one. You had a complaint up on Hillcrest. I don't know whether that was for speeding cars or not. It's a dead-end street, so I don't know who was really speeding up there.
So my question is, because I'm going to make this a little personal. You know where I live. I must see 10 times the amount of trucks. Of course, I'm on a truck route. That's understandable. Do they go 30? I'm not sure. Sure looks like they're not doing it, but I could never say for sure. So my question is, if I have that same problem, what do we do with Main Street? I mean, we can't put a stop sign on Main Street.
You can't put a stop sign on Main Street, but you're gonna have to do more enforcement on Main Street, because this is a truck route, and they got a right to be there.
And I get that, and
And they got plenty of places to hide on Main Street where they don't have places to hide on Mountain Road.
And I totally understand that, and you know that I would not dismiss any of your concerns, but I think the enforcement part,
But we have
I-
had DOT, we have asked DOT and the state police.
well, wait a minute, that's not even, I'm not talking DOT.
They ran radar on these trucks, and these trucks look like they're speeding, but they're not.
I don't even want to go where it looks like they're speeding. I got the data right here.
But
88 cars out of 636 were over 30 miles an hour.
Did you
So
get-
it wasn't that we're looking at it, they were doing it.
Is that graph from the chief?
That's directly from the chief.
All right, he gave you that graph, because I didn't get anything like that.
He gave me the data. I asked him for the data from the
All right,
speed study.
So that's not his graph.
He gave me the data from the speed study, and he sent it to me. This is every car, every speed they were going.
No, but
The
you
graph
made
is just an average, Nancy.
All right, you
can't
made the
use it.
graph.
I didn't get the graph. It's just an average.
Okay, you
can't
made the
use
graph, okay. But my question is, wait a minute, I got to go back to my statement I hadn't finished. And like I said, I will not dismiss the importance of what you're saying, but enforcement, and I don't want to make this sound, come off wrong. You're in the wrong building. You know what I'm saying?
I'm not in the wrong building.
You're in the wrong building.
I'm not in the wrong building for stop signs,
No.
speed signs.
That's exactly correct. But
But for enforcement,
Yes.
I've been calling, I've been talking to them, okay? They'll do it when they have time, and we all know that. And that's a big issue. The sheriffs are the same way, they'll do it when they have time. So if they don't have time, they can't really do it. So this has been going on for 5 years. You know, in the last 7 months, we've been really getting hammered with it. Okay, how much longer is this gonna go on? That's what I wanna know.
well, we're going to take,
How we're gonna stop it.
Okay, so,
I mean, being very flat out honest with
so
you.
here's how we're gonna stop it, Bill.
Wait a minute. We've done everything we can, what we think of. We have asked the police to run radar on the trucks for speed and like that, time and time again, both on Main Street and here. We are being told by the enforcement that the trucks are not speeding. Now, yes, when a tractor trailer comes down that road, Mountain Road, and does not turn off and do a delivery on one of the side streets or on Mountain Road, they are in violation of village law. But
So it isn't about the tractor trailer right now. We talked about that in the beginning. We already got hopefully some solutions to that.
We cannot write that ticket.
It's about
We don't
speed.
have-
The speeding cars I'm going on right
Well,
now.
I'm talking about speed. We have asked for the
don't want to
speeding
do that
thing.
temporary
We've asked
speed
for
bump?
radar traps.
I think we
have
should do it
asked
for a couple months.
Both on Mountain Road and Main Street. And what we're told is they're not getting the speeders. I mean, I don't know what more we can do.
So,
We can continue to ask.
The
them to spend
the
more
most
time.
common application of traffic control devices used by local authorities to mitigate traffic problems are speed humps and four-way stops.
I think the speed hump.
Okay?
Temporary.
Speed humps, now, let me go finish on that. The other information to look at, speed humps should not be put on a road that has emergency vehicles on it. And Mountain Road is used for emergency vehicles all the time. The fire trucks, the ambulance, it's the route out of the village. So you shouldn't put speed humps in there, I'm telling you that right now. Even though I'd love to see it to slow the cars down, you shouldn't do it. It's not a good thing to do because of emergency vehicles. I'm surprised, the other thing I'm surprised of, you don't want to have the traffic signs there because people are going to go through it. But I'm surprised the board has put in traffic accessibility first and not giving consideration to the neighborhood and the pedestrians. No, I talked to Marie Sturgis the other night, and I talked to Harry. And they said, Harry goes, he's surprised one of these kids haven't been hit yet. So they come up on my hill, on the grass, and they ride their bikes down right onto Mountain Road. And one of them's going to get hit. So do we have to do like we did on Magnolia Circle? We had to get someone hit before we put a sign, do anything? I don't think we want to. I don't think that's a good idea. So, you got a couple of things we can do. We can lower the speed limit. I went and looked. There's speed. If you don't want to do that, well, you need to put some 30-mile-an-hour speed signs up. You got three main streets coming into this village. You got Wendell, you got Mountain Road, and you got Winnie Avenue. Okay? Winnie Avenue's got a speed sign on the one sign coming in. I see the temporary speed signs that Henry built are up there now. Why not just put two permanent speed signs up that you can legibly see? Village speed limit 30. Give everybody a heads up. Same thing on Mountain Road. One on each side of the street. Village speed limit 30 miles an
Isn't there
hour.
one on 9W by Key Bank? Because I know that's where I hit my brakes.
There's two, actually.
But it
There's
doesn't
one-
say village speed limit, and there's nothing on Mountain Road. And you got one over on Wendell. It says speed limit 30 miles an hour.
Every place that comes into the village of Ravena, there's a
30.
30-mile-an-hour speed.
There's one coming down Martin's
There's none
Hill.
on Mountain Road.
Martin's Hill.
Well, let's get-
You can't-
Well, a
Let's be
speed sign,
consistent.
that's
Let-
something that's very easy to.
Yep.
Let's be consistent on all
try.
three streets. We should do all three streets.
And I agree, so that's not a problem. What's your third option you thought of?
Well, the other one is install the stop signs, which and I don't understand why that still isn't a good option.
Yeah, lowering the speed limit isn't going to matter because that's still going to be enforcement. You
But
can-
it's gonna be enforcement of, basically, if you lowered the speed limit on them three streets to 20 miles an hour or 25 miles an hour, then the enforcement now becomes
Okay.
32 miles an hour.
Right, but it doesn't seem like any of those got tickets anyway. So it's still going to go back to your
And guess what?
enforcement.
We can't just unilaterally lower the speed limit to 20 miles an hour on Mountain Road. We already have found that out. What we have to do is, we have to propose it. It goes to the state of New York that has to approve it. They play games and say that they don't control village speed limit, but all of our changes have to be approved by the state of New York. And they have already said no to these type of connector streets. We cannot lower the speed limit.
When was the last time you asked them to do that, Bill?
It was a few years ago.
Well, a few years ago or 15 years ago?
Tom, it's not gonna, their opinion is not gonna be changed. We deal with the DOT engineers quite often. Henry deals with them. They have this policy in which you can understand about a flow of traffic. And connecting
Queen Street
street.
got denied.
Where, on 144?
144, they got denied, so.
Yeah,
So it's going to be denied here.
And
That's a state highway. This is a village street that's in a residential neighborhood.
but it connects
Same
to
thing.
state highways. Okay? And
Yeah.
well, that's what it's called a connector street. They will not allow us to do it.
All right, so what we did agree on, though, was truck route signs, right, Billy?
Right.
Yes, 30-mile-an-hour signs, not a problem.
Nope.
And the weight limit on Mountain and
Wait a
Moxley.
minute, you can't say truck route signs, yes.
Because they have to
That's
approve
DOT.
No, we're going
We're
to,
gonna
Well,
ask
right,
Ask
them.
for
right,
it.
right,
Here's,
right.
here's some other things I read up on that suggested that things that could slow down the traffic in your village neighborhood. Paint center lines on the road. Put a, du-
Well,
Why,
Why?
wait a minute, why would that do it?
no, wait a minute, first of all, again,
yeah,
we have addressed this.
there's a
issue.
problem with
As
that.
soon as you put a center line down on the road, the liability gets tremendous for accidents.
Well, how's that gonna slow anybody down, though?
But also.
It makes
the
people pay
liability
attention.
question for the village of Ravena is with center lines, because once you put down a center line, right, you have to maintain it. If there's an accident and there is.
No proof of maintaining,
or
village is
no
liable.
And none of our streets have them.
That's
Right,
why we
none of
don't,
us
that's why we
reach
don't
out.
do it no more.
Yep.
And we have, I hate to say it's a major
I don't-
lawsuit.
I don't think
have
I've
to
we
been-
win
just
the
put, yeah,
lawsuit.
we just put lines on top of the sidewalk on both sides of the street. Them lines should have been in a foot, so you give the pedestrian at least a half a chance not to get hit. So we just painted the yellow lines on that street last year.
All that is a guide to show where the
That is
sidewalk
a-
is.
Well, then that guide ought to be moved in a foot and make that road a little bit narrower so people pay attention to where they're going.
You don't want it narrower.
But why not? Because right now they go down the center when there isn't a car coming. They go down the center of the road and they gas it. And they keep going. They ain't got to pay attention. These traffic measurements are done for people to start paying attention. And when you pay attention, you tend to slow down.
Well, no, definitely no paint on the road, because then the village is liable
Yeah,
for it.
as soon as you put paint on the road, it's a tremendous liability issue for the village of Ravena.
That's pretty sad that we can't slow down the neighborhood.
We can't put crosswalks.
Why can't you put
They
crosswalks?
won't let us.
We're not allowed.
Why can't you put crosswalks on Mountain Road in Western? It's your village street.
It's another thing, it's a liability if it's not maintained.
And then.
So why don't we just maintain it then? What's the problem?
Because if there's one accident and it's not maintained time, then there's liabilities there.
So what,
So it's
what,
better to go without the sidewalk, or the crosswalk.
so it's better to go without it, and let somebody get hit, and then then the village don't care. We don't have any liability.
DOT they wouldn't allow us. We looked into a crosswalk, and they told us no.
That has to do with sight of distance, too.
Like this.
Yeah, but also, when you have a crosswalk, it has to go to a certain type of place. It's gotta be from sidewalk to sidewalk. There's other requirements.
The handicap
Handicap.
part.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tremendous amount of regulation.
It can't go across Mountain Road to that west little piece of, or Western Avenue, because there's no sidewalk over there. So it can't go from Western Avenue to a street with no sidewalk.
It's the same thing when we talk, going back to when Keith Mallow was a trustee, and we've talked about it since then, about we would love to have sidewalks and crosswalks up at,
9W.
9W.
9W. One of our problems is you gotta have a crosswalk. To have a crosswalk, it has to go to.
Has to go somewhere.
So right now, you're telling me we can't do paint, we can't do crosswalks, we can't do speed bumps. What do we got left? Oh, stop
Signs.
signs. That's what it comes down to. We have nothing else left. Then the other thing, and it's a speed radar sign. Did you ever think of putting one of them up?
A permanent one?
Permanent one. Solar powered. No power going to it.
It's about $4,000.
I don't know what they cost.
$3,014.
All right. You didn't count installing it and nothing else either.
Well, you're spending the same amount of time installing the temporary 30-mile-an-hour speed signs. So installing this is no different.
So a solar speed sign.
Well, I know we're gonna call DOT for the truck route and for the weight limit and the 30 mile an hour. Those are three things that we're gonna act on.
And I'd like to see a vote on the stop sign. Yes or no from the board.
Well, I think again, we have one family versus when
If
we.
the coronavirus wasn't going on right now, I'd be banging on every door on that street.
Well, people
okay?
can come, because we can have up to 50, but,
That doesn't matter. People are not gonna,
oh, they're not gonna come out.
they're not gonna come out now because of this coronavirus. And this is just, the other thing is, this isn't all the traffic, because the coronavirus is still going on. School is out of session. It's gonna be even worse when that all opens back up. And then you gotta look at what houses are left on the street. Like I said in my email I sent you there. The village owns 3/4 of the property. I own the other on this side of the street. I own the other 3/4. There's one house across from me, okay? And there's an apartment house down here that's been, that's finally getting cleaned up a little bit. But the other side of the street had 3 foreclosures. Who am I gonna get? Who do you want me to get to come?
Well, I mean, I'm just saying, there's probably a dozen houses that,
All right, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna send a letter to each resident that's on Mountain Road, and I'm gonna ask their opinion on the stop sign. If we'll take that information, I'll share it with you. If it warrants further discussion, then it becomes the subject of a public hearing, and we'll go
I
there.
mean, like a public informational meeting.
An informational first, and see
Right.
where it goes.
Okay,
And that's the best I can offer you, Tom.
all right, thank you.
And that's above and beyond anything we've done for any other street, just so we're clear, because we didn't offer that to Wendell Street or Magnolia Circle for us to reach out to them.
You know what goes above and beyond? Me getting in my car, chasing a tractor trailer down, and asking the driver to stay off it, off the street. That goes above and beyond.
Loretta, and I'm not saying that, but I may not have the truck problem that you do, because I have hundreds of trucks go by my house, but I do have the speeding problem, so I get it. I absolutely get it. I am not gonna chase down a speeding truck personally, but, I'm just saying it.
Let me just say something too. I appreciate Mr. Maggie making the effort to send letters out. There are a couple houses up on 9W and Mountain Road. They hear trucks all day long. And are the trucks, they might not even notice them coming down Mountain Road. And there's nobody's speeding at the corners. They're speeding in between,
I understand.
okay?
Could I just?
There's rental properties. We've had rental properties, and I can honestly say most people don't care. They're there for brief periods of time, a year or two, and then they move on to their own place. So I'm not sure, and then there's people who are working, and they don't see this during the day. So, I understand what you need to do and asking people's opinions, but again, you have to be there to see it, and we are there. When Tom retired from work, he was shocked at the amount of trucks that were coming down the road.
And
He was
I,
shocked.
and I really don't think, none of this is gonna get any better. You got all the stuff that's going on down at Cleveland's. They're gonna, on Thursday night, they're gonna approve Billy Beers's permit to bring C&D into the village, into the town. And as soon as they approve that, how many C&D trucks are gonna start coming down these roads? Okay, that's gonna be the next question, because every time you get a new business down in the Port of Queens, you get a new truck driver that don't know the rules.
Yeah, that's definitely potential.
They're either gonna take C&D in on barges, ship it out on trucks, or they're gonna take C&D in on trucks and ship it out on barges. And I see that happening. And the town board's gonna let it go. And I'm not so sure that they even got that right, because it says, they're saying solid waste, they're not just saying C&D. They gave a definition on this new law with solid waste. And solid waste, if you read the definition they put in there, just about anything.
Yeah, we received an email today about that,
So
notifying us.
that's another concern that the village of Ravena is gonna pay for. Thank you very much. Bill, thank you.
All right,
I'll let you guys go.
have a good evening, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we're gonna move on, and Chris, I bet your hand hurts a little bit of writing here.
Bad night for that to be off.
We have, I talked to right now, everybody knows we're currently under water restrictions. And we evaluate that weekly. I did talk to Jimmy Shear and Jason. The plant has had a chance to catch up after the several fires that we had and the breaks and blah, 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 everybody filling their pools. So I wanted to see what the board's thought was of, we're in the end of July. Even if we ease it until the next meeting, I tend to believe we get into August, if this weather pattern keeps up, we'll probably be back at them again, but for the,
Can you do sprinklers like we used to do? We would alternate. Or you'd say sprinklers only between 7 and 9. Or,
well, that's the thing, a lot of people, they like to convene, and I just would ask to be judicious with it and not let it run 24 hours or spill out into the gutters, it's.
Driveways.
or
it
all
might-
night long. Why don't
Yeah.
you do sprinklers between 7 and 9 a.m., 7 and 9 p.m.? I mean, I don't know if that'd be worse for the plant, but it would limit someone turning it on and going to bed or leaving it on for 4 hours.
And it's also an easier enforcement.
Yeah, I mean, there are inexpensive timers that, and I would just ask that people do what they can to conserve. And again, we'll revisit this if everybody's
If it gets out of control.
open to it. Well, we're gonna revisit it regardless, because like I said, I think
Once
August
the
is,
water, this pattern,
we gotta watch
we'll be
our,
back
our
into
levels
it in
and,
August. I mean,
Easy.
Well, then what do you wanna
it's
do?
supposed to
Do you
rain
wanna
tomorrow,
try
but,
Yeah.
after- if we go back to
Limiting the
pattern
sprinklers?
we
What do you
had,
want?
I think the time idea is the best.
Yeah, how about that? Why don't we just leave the 7 to 9 morning and night, but say,
Sprinklers are allowed.
do you think that,
Sprinklers are allowed.
yeah,
We've done
and
that.
just to be clear too, because I had some parents contact me, please don't deprive your kids of playing in the sprinkler. That's not what this was about, and it's been brutally hot, and this poor lady was like, oh, my kids are, they're freaking out. No, that's not what this is about,
Water.
Water, I
Watering.
never water my lawn. I mean, unless I put in a new lawn, I just don't, it does not make sense to me.
but now's not the time to put in a new lawn.
Yeah,
because
but
it's
I'm
hot.
saying,
Yeah,
you know,
even
supposed
when
to do it in the fall.
Water is what I put in.
All right, so is that how you're amending
Yeah,
it?
so let's amend it that way for now.
Okay.
7 to 9 sprinklers?
Sprinklers will be
AM and
allowed
PM.
for, the maintenance of the lawn, and just, again, please be judicious with it, and,
So you'll do that on the Facebook and website?
yeah.
So 7 to 9 and 7 to 9
I don't
sprinklers.
think some people knew not to do that.
Well, yeah.
You what?
So,
I saw a lot of sprinklers, and
Yeah,
they're watering
you know,
people's driveways. I mean, they don't.
That's the wasteful part of it, we don't like to
That's
see
the
that.
problem. Yeah.
That's my,
Problem, not good.
And
Well,
just
you've
so
been
everybody knows,
conscientious on
Yeah, I've been going around every night checking almost.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
get calls on it all the time, so I go check them and just let the people know. Actually, people have been pretty good about it. No-
Yeah, I think for the
no
most
big
part,
arguments or anything,
I
so.
understand, they just,
Yeah.
not everybody has Facebook or the
yeah,
internet,
that's
so,
true.
that's just the way it is. We did, the 30 days did pass on Thursday, from the vote to dissolve the Ravena Court to it becoming effective, due to the, permissive referendum. So, with that said, we are in the transition period of closing out our books and our court, all future court cases and records and ongoing cases are being transferred to the town of Queens for disposition. And I'm sure once, this is fresh, once our justice court gets rolling with this process, and there's a very detailed process that they follow, they will probably have letters will go out if you have something pending, and I would assume there'd be some sort of a public letter crafted by the judges, that we also will make public as we receive that. So that's what's going on. Jeff was next here, he did the VFW thing.
So
And-
everybody who has an open and pending course will receive instructions.
Correct, yes. All right, I've got a few things here to read into the minutes. June 2018, Building Department report. Just for this month alone, estimated construction costs, $44,000. banner year for that, with people stuck at home.
Cool.
My house.
Unfortunately, you can't get anything you need the lumber's gone, swimming pools are gone, there's been a run on all that stuff. They did answer 16 zoning complaints, 3 for unregistered vehicles, and so they've been busy. They've been busy, a lot of informational calls, 120 to date. So,
Finally got to motor vehicles, I was thrilled.
we got that, the minutes. Mary Ellen had a little something we talked about the last meeting. We talked about discussing some chicken options. I know that's your favorite.
Nancy's really waiting for those.
But like I said before, some people had approached me and, they thought that, given the current state of the country and that the corona and having stuff maybe not as accessible, that it highlighted the importance of some sustenance. So with that said, we asked Mary Ellen to take a look at what some other municipalities have done.
I got the town of Colony, city of Albany, and the town of Bethlehem. And they were all a little bit different, but most of what I saw in here were no roosters. Most of them had how many you could have. One was up to 6, some of them were just 4 on any parcel. No roosters, no breeding. You had to have something containing them. They couldn't get away. Had to have a building permit approved by the building department. Building permits must be obtained. The coops cannot be allowed in the front or side yards. No more than 1 coop per property. Let's see what else. That was pretty much Colony. No commercial purposes, so you couldn't be selling your chickens. I don't know about the eggs. And
So
no-
you said Colony, Albany, and who else?
Bethlehem.
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 Let's see what else is this. And then they had, failure to comply was a $200 fine per day of your violation. And that was Colony. And the city of Albany, no roosters, clean, covered, well-ventilated enclosures, secure from predators, cleaned regularly, hens in covered enclosure in a fenced area at all times, no closer than 25 feet to your neighboring property owner, must obtain licenses. And then the town of Bethlehem, up to 4 chickens kept within the coop or enclosure at all time, personal use only, no commercial, no slaughtering on the premises. Coop enclosure screened from neighbor's view, rear property only. Then on the corner lots, there had to be a setback. Coops covered and ventilated, secure from predators. And then they had even fencing buried 1 foot below the ground so that, I guess, the chickens can barrel out underneath, or maybe something comes in to eat them. So, and I was at a house, just to let you know, in Cooksaki, and I was sitting there at a party, picnic in the backyard. I must have been there an hour and a half, and I went, "Oh, you got chickens?" And she had a dog walking around and everything. I didn't even know she had chickens. So I think it depends on the person and if they take care of them. And
Well, I think it depends too, as Albany, Colony, and Bethlehem, I am sure, have full-time code enforcement. So again, enforcement would be the issue. In light of your statement at the last meeting, I too have received phone calls, and not to the positive.
I'm shocked.
Yes. So I wonder how they know who to call. Again, their concerns were chickens getting out, having encountered people with chickens over the past few years when people did have them, like black market. So they've had the experience where they've been lived on a street where people have had chickens. They had bad experiences. So I think, you're going to,
Like were there rogue bands of chickens?
well, they've gotten out. I don't know. I think Western Avenue had them where they got
guinea hens
out.
got out.
they did get
Of
out.
course, my cat took care of one.
Right. I mean, there were a couple places where they've gotten out, roosting on people's roofs and whatnot. So I think for every positive story, you're going to get a negative story. And
There's good and bad with everything.
I've heard my children need to know where eggs come from. Well, I mean, I know where eggs come from, and I didn't have chickens.
Shop and save, right?
Educational level.
And then don't tell me you can't get eggs at the store, because what are they gonna do when they couldn't get toilet paper? I mean, just
You have
say-
grass for that, Nancy.
Just say
that
you want chickens because you want chickens. Don't
Don't
give
give me
me a false reason.
All right, let's skip the chickens. What about goats?
There again,
forget
that
the
was,
pigs.
that was a concern of one of the phone calls.
That's true.
If we were going by like the 25-foot setback,
Eliminates a lot, yeah.
That eliminates
And you
in
can even go by
backyard.
square footage
that
if you want to.
eliminates most of the property on
In-
Central Van Buren, Pulver.
Western,
and
Oh, yeah.
The older property line are 40-foot wide.
yep.
I mean, quite honestly, I do believe that, like I said, friends of mine have them. If you have rules, anybody out over the hill can grab some chickens, throw them in their yard and whatever. But if you have these rules, it makes it very difficult. There's a substantial cost involved with these things and a
it is.
dedication to it. So I think it does weed out, the person that had the guinea hens, well, that's not covered under this. They're very loud, they roam, that's what they do. They are beneficial, but nobody wants them. But I think, you do have something invested in this. I know, I was looking at them I was looking at a shed, and I just happened to see them at the place in Selkirk.
Yeah, they're nice.
If you're not gonna build your own, you're gonna pay a few $1,000s
yes.
for a coop, you
A
know?
chicken coop.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
they're
the
no
coop-
joke.
But there again, that was the concern of one of the phone calls too, was, all right, you're gonna allow chickens, hypothetically. What stops you from then going on to say, ducks and I mean, how are you going to justify to one person that chickens are fine, but ducks
That's why we
aren't,
had them all.
and you can't have a goat?
Well, I mean, that's like anything. You say, yeah, you can build your garage this big, but you're not building it that, there's rules, it's-
So they'd have to come back for something different, which
Well,
they
just
may
keep
be
in mind the
denied.
enforcement, because we just went through an hour of someone
That was a
not
chicken.
happy because of things not being enforced, so,
We're just talking here. It's all right.
Your neighbors are close, they don't have enough of a setback.
Might want chickens. Election year, Nancy.
Nancy's got room in her backyard, I think.
I have
Yeah,
plenty
she
of
does
room,
have room.
She does.
personally.
That's where I'm putting mine.
All right,
How wide is your property?
mine,
Yeah, how wide is your property? I don't know
Yeah.
if you have.
80, I think, 300 deep, it's deep,
Is it
She's
big
got it
wide?
Pretty deep.
I'm pretty sure. I don't know, is it?
Yeah,
It's
probably-
wide.
It's probably 80.
It's wide,
All
and
right.
300 deep. Did
Well,
you
thank
get,
you for getting that.
Just an idea,
Nobody's here for it, so that's just
Maybe
something.
Jeff, I don't know if Jeff,
We do our
Jeff
due
likes
diligence
chickens.
did you get this?
no, I did not.
He said he put it in everybody's box, did you?
I got it.
You did.
All right, go ahead and read that, Nancy.
The fire department report for the month of June, 11 calls, 2 structure fires, 4 alarm drops, 1 pole fire, 1 chimney fire,
Chimney fire. Huh.
and 3 motor vehicle accidents.
Yeah, that was a good.
Who had a chimney fire? I mean, okay, so, we do need to formally approve their officers that they elected, just as a matter of formality. So I make a motion that we approve the fire department election of officers as the following. Chief Jeff D'Ambrosio, Deputy Chief Kevin Phillips, Assistant Chiefs Brandon Hardy, Travis Whitbeck, Captain Eric Woolham, and Lieutenants Tyler Searles and Adam Durway.
I'll second that.
Yes.
I can hear you.
Oh, yes, yeah. No, that's a dedicated crew. That's good choices.
Yep. Yes.
What do you got, Linda?
wasn't
I did go over to ask Darlene about our pool, and I wanted to get some numbers and come up with some information. So she did put some numbers together for us, and I'd like to present that. In the total of the 13 days, from Tuesday, July 7th to Monday, July 20th, 183 passes have been given out.
Wow.
The Village Passes is 140, and Queens so far is 43, and there's still, in fact, when I was there today, they were still handing out passes. The number of adults on the passes are 376, and the number of children on the passes are 280. The adult swim averages about 6 or 7 during the morning swim and around 4 to 5 in the evening swim. The total swimmers per day, the total swimmers were 863 swimmers, about 61, 62 a day, which was good. Weekends so far, which are 4 days, there's been 295 swimmers with an average about 73 per day. Which looks like we're doing pretty good so far. The busiest day was July 9th with 105, and the slowest was July 8th with 32, and that was that rainy, cloudy day. I do want to give a really big thank you to Troy Ortega for making a 2020 COVID rule signs to hang up in front of where we check in. It's probably 6 feet across and 3 feet wide. It's a beautiful
Wow.
sign.
Oh,
So if you
nice.
go, it's right in front. He works for Xerox, I understand, and he took it upon himself and made us that sign. So I
Oh,
want to thank you for
Very
that.
nice.
Troy Ortega? Did you say Ortega?
Yeah, or Ortega.
Yeah.
Ortega. So, yeah. So it looks to me like, and they're very thankful. She wanted to tell me that we've had very few problems with what is expected of our patrons. They realize that they need to wear their masks. It's been very good, and they've been following it. Time limits, we've had no problem with time limits. Had to use them a couple times, and the people were very thankful for having the pool opened.
Oh, that's good. I'm
So
glad.
that was
Good to hear.
How's the cleaning? Do you know?
working very well,
Okay,
working very
that's
well,
good.
yes. And it was a really good idea on Darlene's side to hire separate people, kids to do that, because they do a wonderful job.
Okay,
That's good.
Yep.
that's a much better report than I expected.
Me
I
too.
expected to have some problems.
And what I see is because the many local pools around us have not opened, and I think they are realizing how special Ravena is to open the pool.
Well, that's
So
good.
I'm happy with that.
Excellent. You weren't done? You got more?
Well, you want to talk about the classes tomorrow,
Yes, and hopefully, yes.
as long, weather permitting?
Yeah, as you know, and we've announced, and it's been on Facebook and on the website, that we have special things going in the park for our residents, and I believe the town, because it's a library
Yeah.
event as well. Tomorrow at 3 o'clock in the park, and I think you had to sign up for this, and so it may, I don't know if you still can.
I think that's sold out.
I think that one sold out, which means that we hopefully will bring it back again, but we're supposed to have a gentleman coming to present a program on animals
From the Vermont Museum.
from the Vermont Museum. So it's supposed to be excellent. It's underneath one of the pavilions. And I know we're expecting rain, so we'll keep our fingers crossed with that.
Right, Judith said she would send me the emails of the participants, so
We can
tomorrow.
get a hold of them
Right,
and give
we'll
them
make
that
a call on
information.
what the
Okay,
weather's
all right,
gonna
that's
be.
good. And another program that we're hopefully having tomorrow night at 6 p.m. in the same place in the park is a hula hoop for families. And you can still, I believe, sign up for
Mm-hmm.
that. There's still openings, and it should be a lot of fun. Again, weather permitting, if it does not seem like that event is going to happen, we will let as many people as we can know that is
And when's the
over.
second class for that? It's in August.
It's in August, and I'm sorry, I don't remember the date.
I think
On
it's-
that, the 23rd?
I thought it was like the 9th or something, but there
Yeah,
is a second
There will be a
class.
second class, and this class may be rescheduled if we don't get it in.
That's
So
nice.
that's exciting.
And I did talk to AARP today about that shred event that we're looking at. They are not scheduling anything in 2020.
That's what
I
I
thought
figured.
possibly they would in the fall, because it really doesn't involve being close to anyone.
Yeah.
People drive in, they dump their stuff, and they keep on going. But they said it's a national decision. They're not leaving it to localities. So
Okay.
I have on my calendar to call her in October, and hopefully we can get set up for 2021.
Okay.
So keep saving everything that you need to shred. Question for you, since you're going to be talking to DOT so much, would you please ask when they're going to fix the 3 signs in 3 different locations on Main Street, the one at Russell and Main?
I did talk to, in regards to Russell and Maine.
Yeah.
That was a couple weeks ago, so I'll follow up when I call Ken for this other issue.
The one in front of the library
Yep,
is tipped,
and one we're missing.
and the one at Van Hoosen, you have that though.
No, I don't, we never picked it up.
I thought you picked it up.
No, I don't know where, so we'll have to remind them.
I thought one of your guys picked it up.
I'll look, but I don't think so.
See if it's laying against the building. I mean, their truck hit it.
Right, right.
So yeah, that was just when you're talking to somebody. Thank you. I'm done.
Just have to say hi to Ainsley and Declan.
What?
They can see me now on TV, so I had to say hi.
Oh,
On YouTube.
I know, we can do
Okay.
that. We can do shout outs.
Shout out.
You want a close-up?
No. Too many wrinkles, Bill. I don't want to scare the kid.
And just so you know, I got a text, and it wasn't from my husband, that says, I'm a big no for chickens. Just saying.
I know who that's from, E.H.
No,
No?
No.
just saying, without mentioning names.
Don't be a Debbie Downer.
Just saying.
just keep an open mind, Nancy. Someday you may need eggs.
Eggs. I would
Don't
like,
take those and maybe
I'd do the meat chicken.
What?
That we pay the audited bills for the second part of July 2020, abstract 2-2-20, in the sum of $71,886.60.
I'll second that.
Yes.
Yes.
And I want to just comment, I believe, Henry, you've got a very busy August coming up.
Mm.
It was several things that they, hopefully we will be doing work on Main Street for the water line. Hopefully, if my timing's right, that we will be looking at when the supplies come in, because there is a big backlog of supplies. We'll be doing the
Strip on again.
stormwater back to the Catholic Church that's gonna direct it down through our Van Hoosen overflow. And
Stormwater.
the stormwater and back of our parking lot.
Right.
And also, we're
yeah.
getting ready to start on Dean's Mill tomorrow with starting to clear out some trees and get that
Okay.
ready. so.
Some plants.
So they will have a very busy August. Project's finally getting underway, if all the supplies come in, because there's a tremendous back order of supplies that we unexpectedly run into because of COVID.
Wow.
So he's got a very busy August coming up.
Okay.
I just got one thing, you wanna bring up anything about the basketball courts? Because getting a lot of calls about putting the hoops up, and we're still not allowed to do it.
Yeah, we're not in that,
No, we're
we're
not
not in
yet.
that phase yet for the contact sports, but we are going to be doing some repairs to them to stay on top of them. That's where we're at.
We are going to do another movie in the park, probably, maybe the last week of July. We'll have to see, weather permitting, but we will go ahead and publicize that as well. We'll do that on a Friday night this time.
Oh, good.
All right. Anything else?
Nope.
All right, I motion we adjourn.
I'll second.
Yes.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Thank
Have a
you.
great night.
Hey, Jeff, you know, if they do those movies in the park, I wonder if you guys could do hot dogs.
I almost had to leave during the meeting.
Hey, the Tinkle.
When did it become harassment?
We do movies over in the park. I don't know if you guys could do refreshments or something for fundraiser. For the VFW.
He just